In this video, we'll tell you all about the legend of the Honda XR600R. A legend that, weird enough, started with this little bike. This little bike was the start of a not so little motorcycle line that changed the dual sport world for good. Before we are diving into the specs and the performance of this machine, let's talk about the evolution that it made over the years. My name is Wessel from the Kickback Company. Let's go. XR started in the beginning of the 70s with the XR75 and the XR80, where X stands for cross, or aka off-road, and R stands for race ready. Later in the 70s, in 78, there came the first bigger models, the XR250S and the XR500S, which were dual shock, drum braked, and had a monstrous 23-inch front wheel in the front. In the beginning of the 80s, they started to make them look more like the Enduro CR models, carrying a 21-inch front wheel with a disc brake and carrying monoshock in the back. Throughout the 80s, the models had a big evolution in CCs, but also in the building of the engine. You had the XR200, XR250, XR350, XR400, XR500, and the XR600, which started in 1985 and was the beginning of a 20 years legacy. It even evolved into a XR650L and later R, which was hugely popular in the States. And we are going to tell you why it was so popular. But before diving into the stats of this machine, keep on listening. We're going to tell you all about the racing history. So history is everything on these old bikes, and you had to be active in races to be seen by the public. And the Honda XR was pretty active. A jacked up version of the Honda XR500 raced in the early Dakars before being replaced by the Honda NXR. Later on, eventually being replaced by the Honda XR650 again. But before that, the most famous XR rider around, Johnny Campbell, rode his Honda XR600R, and also the 650 on various Baja rallies to its victory. And that's why this machine is so popular for Enduro, all-road or flat track riders around the world, and especially in the US. Honda claiming 41 horsepower on the engine, accounting 140 kilometers an hour max speed, which is completely reliable on your sprocket entire setup, and promise me it's not comfortable for either you or the bike either way. So the Honda XR is the machine that invented a fun factor in motorcycle riding, carrying a 591cc single cylinder, having a radial 4-valve combustion chamber made for Honda specifically, with 4 valves, and having a kickstart only engine. And I love that Honda put a Kickstarter on the lever, because otherwise I would not know where it was. Because having only a Kickstarter, it had some disadvantages, like breaking your lower leg while trying to start it, but it also had some advantages because it doesn't have a battery and therefore is really light. It is tanked up and full of oil. It weighs 134 kilograms, carrying just over 10 liters of fuel. The fun factor also is made because of its torque. It's got a 51.9 nanometers of torque, which is huge. Combine that with a light but high bike and a huge suspension travel, is just a joy to ride still on the day. The Honda XR600R is one of the fastest and most torqued up dirt bikes ever made, or at least vintage dirt bikes. It's got a huge fan base worldwide and is highly capable of having lots of fun. But how reliable is this machine actually? and what kind of modification do you need if you are going on a big travel or on a race. We will talk all about it in the next videos. But first, if you liked this video, please subscribe to our channel and check out our web shop for the latest kickback gear. And now let's take this baby for a ride to dive all into its functionality. Well, how the fuck do you start this thing? Haha! It started! This bike might be a bit of a bitch to start, but check out video 2 because we will talk all about it.